Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
And peaceful New Year, everybody, I hope.
Happy 2016. First VC sharing session of the year.
Mm.
And it's the 3rd of January.
Yep.
Just gone midnight.
Good.
Take it away, John.
So I kicked off with some hip hop. With Find a Way from Tribe Called Quest's The Love Movement, which was their last full album, I think, actually. Yeah, great. I mean, kind of underrated, I think, this last one. Got some good stuff on it. Yeah, Find a Way.
And Idris Elba played it on Six Music.
Yeah, Idris Elba, the UK British actor who those of you in the States will know from The Wire. We know him over here from Luther as well. Chose this track as one of his tracks he played on Radio 6 Music.
Yeah. I followed that up with some other hip hop, some more hip hop. Shout out to Ben Costello, who I'm sure knows this album very well. It's out of the Organised Noise stable, and it's the Dungeon family. And it was the track called Follow the Light, featuring a great rap from CeeLo Green and some great lead vocal from Sleepy Brown and some fine bass playing from Preston Crump.
Stayed in very much in the same part of town and went for a track from Outkast's Aqua Mini record and played the track Spotty Otty Dopalicious.
Yeah, that's the one.
Again, with some great bass playing from Preston Crump. And it's kind of one of the most successful kind of bringing together of hip hop and reggae, I think.
Fantastic track.
Really good track. All their albums sound great, actually, still.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Nearly 16, 17 years ago this was made now.
But moving bang up to date, Thundercat. This is the EP that was originally just released in digital format and has just come out on vinyl. And I got this via Ninja Tune. I think Ninja Tune do all the brain feeder stuff. There's 4 tracks on here. Was there more than that? Anyway, no, 6 tracks. We listened to the track called, I think it was called Them Changes. Anyway, it's fantastic. It samples the Isley Brothers' Footsteps in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
More of that later.
But
yes, the normal Thundercat kind of production, his kind of very George Duke-esque vocals, very lyrical, really nice sort of heavy envelope filtered bass line, and great track, very nice EP. Probably, I think, the best release of the 3 that he's done so far. It's called The Beyond / Where the Giants Roam.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I then had to play a track off, I guess it's definitely been my most played record this year. We've featured it a couple of times, I think, in sessions already.
At least a couple of times.
Played the track The Charade off D'Angelo's Black Messiah, which I have to say, I have a feeling might well be the best record of next year as well. Actually, I might have played it. Still sounds fantastic.
It does.
Kind of, special stuff. Actually.
Yeah.
Don't often get records you think, actually, this is what I'm going to be listening to.
No, well, I definitely was obsessed with that album for
Yeah.
about the first 3 months. Kind of hardly listened to anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, we followed that up with one of the new reissues from Knitting Factory of Fela Kuti. They seem to be reissuing virtually everything he's ever made, and this is the album called Everything Scatter. And we listened to the second track, or there's basically a track aside, but it is the track called Everything Scatter, I think, on side 2. Sounded good, sounded great. Yeah, you can't beat Tony Allen's drum beat and that amazing horn section and Fela's very distinctive sax and keyboard player.
So I followed Fela with more Fela.
You did?
And played track off He Misrode, which is called, I can never remember what the track's called actually. I don't know. Played the last track anyway of He Misrode, which is released on a doubled up with expensive shit on this double CD. He Misrode, I'm pretty sure was produced by Ginger Baker, actually. This has also been re-released on vinyl, but it sounded awful. I actually, so I sent
really?
it back. Yeah.
A Knitting Factory?
No, not Knitting Factory. It came out on somebody else put it out on usual 180 gram vinyl, which sounded terrible.
Okay.
Yeah. So be careful of that.
Had a nice sort of
Very spaced out.
very spaced out psychedelic feel.
And the drumming's kind of absolutely minimal. It's all kind of cymbals and rim shots. Really.
This, I don't know, someone in the VC has obviously shown this. I keep doing this. I end up ordering records and I can't remember how I heard about them, and then they come as a great surprise. Anyway, this was the Brazilian band called Opa, and the album's called Magic Time. And we listened to a track which is the first track on side one called Mind Projects, which kind of went through about 5 different genres of music in 5 minutes, including, so sort of pop, fuzz pop, scatting, Brazilian groove, all kinds of stuff going on. Very, very imaginative, very inventive. I think Ayrton was the producer on this. Flora Purim appears, and Barry Finnerty, who John tells me also played with Miles in the early 80s. Great stuff.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly what the connection was with the next album, but I played a track called Animal off, I think this was either the 3rd or 4th Joe Farrell record on CTI, called Canned Funk. Now, one of the nice things about Joe Farrell records on CTI is that none of them sound like CTI records at all. They're either, the first one was very much sounded like something that would come out on ECM or something other, and the rest of them all sound like, well, certainly they shouldn't be on CTI, much rawer sound. And this has got Joe Beck on guitar, Herb Bushler on bass, Jim Madison on drums, and Ray Mantilla on percussion as well. Some heavy, quite heavy bass playing from Herb Bushler on as well.
And I discovered that I actually had this album as well.
Yeah, yes, that's what Mark was saying. I need to get this.
Yes.
And
I've actually got it, but only fairly recently. Okay, we followed that up with a track that I thought I was going to be playing on New Year's Eve, and learnt it. It's a very simple 3-chord tune called Way Back Home by the Jazz Crusaders. So this was just before they became the Crusaders. And lovely album, fantastic track that has this amazing gospel flavour, and with drums that just sort of continue to build, so that it sort of ends up like it feels like there's a marching army heading way back home. Very powerful tune. Then classic Crusaders, you can tell it's them within the first sort of 2 or 3 seconds. Terrible cover, by the way, but nice album.
Yep. Then we had a break.
We did,
and we
for a Portuguese tart.
Portuguese tart.
As ever,
and some cheese. Then came back and played a track called...
We had some rocking redhead wine.
We had some rocking redhead wine.
And that inspired the next series of tunes.
Which is on red vinyl, and I can't remember the track.
There you go.
It was called Pickled Ginger. Played a track called Pickled Ginger off the most recent Wilco album, which was released as a free download in the summer, and came out a little while ago on vinyl as well. The album's called Star Wars. It's got the world's biggest barcode on the back. You're never gonna miss the barcode on this one. Kind of rawer, less produced than their last album, and definitely is growing on me. I know Roger Coleman, for one, is a Wilco. Certainly likes them live. I'm not sure whether he likes them as much on record.
Ben Costello is a Wilco.
Ben Costello as well.
He's going to be doing a Wilco special.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Going to be catching that. Yeah.
Strong feeling of status quo for me.
Yes, that's right. There was definitely a bit of status quo on this track as well. But then he distinctly got
Distinctly went very unstatus quo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love this band. They're probably my favourite band. Somebody said they're a dad band. I think that's probably right. Don't mind.
Well, keeping with the hard rock flavour, an album and a band that I've really got into, well, last year now, is the Groundhogs, led by the guitarist Tony McPhee. Many people regard this as their best album. I think I'm still deciding what their best album is, but it's split. and it's very much a split between two album sides, kind of quite a sort of schizophrenic feel. We listened to the track Cherry Red, which I think is a bit of a Groundhogs classic tune, and obviously I think the Cherry Red record label must have taken their name from this very track. And there's something about the Groundhogs. They sound, I mean, although they're kind of, rock power trio, they just sound very, very authentic and not like anybody else. And I'm definitely, continuing to enjoy them.
And I remember they played at my school.
That's right.
Yeah. Back in the 60s and 70s, bands used to play in schools.
Yeah.
Do weekend concerts, and they played in mine.
Now pop bands do PAs.
That's true. In schools.
In schools.
That's marketing stuff.
That is marketing stuff, yeah.
Then went for the Beatles, really, which is my copy of the Beatles White Album's got an interesting signature. I don't know who it is on the front of it. Played Glass Onion. Not much to see on the Beatles White Album.
No, but what number is it, Sean?
I don't know what number it is. Not sure. Not sure.
But you had a poster and photos in there?
Got the poster and photos, yeah.
Beatles. Sounded fantastic, I have to say.
Yeah. And that's the second session in a row you've had the Beatles.
Yeah.
Featured, actually.
So, we're always looking for those unsigned bands no one else has ever heard of.
That's right.
And of course, so we followed that up with, hang on.
Complete with photographs.
Look at that.
Look at that.
I used to have those on my wall.
John, Paul, George and Ringo.
Indeed.
So there's a complete set.
Yeah. Another unknown band, the Rolling Stones here, with the track Goat's Head, the album Goat's Head Soup. And, God, what was the album? The track? Heartbreaker, indeed.
Yeah.
With some lovely clav work from Billy Preston.
Mm.
Yeah, this is great album. If you don't know it, it's worth picking up.
I mean, there's a the great run of albums actually they did around that time. Then went CD and played the track called What to Do off the Manassas album, which was Stephen Still's band he formed, which was kind of like a supergroup really, with Chris Hillman, Dallas Taylor, Fuzzy Samuels, Al Perkins, Joe Lala and so forth on it as well. I think it's a great record actually. I've got this on vinyl. I couldn't find the vinyl copy, so I bought the CD with me tonight. Solid kind of double album worth of great songs actually, which all have this nice segue from one to the other as well. It's a really good listening, this record.
Sounded very large.
Very large.
We kept going. We went back to 1967. This is a bit of a classic album that I recently picked up from a record shop that I've discovered in Canterbury called Canterbury Rocks, and it's Country Joe and the Fish, and the album is electric music for the mind and body. Very much of its time. We listened to a tune called Happiness is a Porpoise Mouth that featured some very, very trebly Farfisa organ.
There's a lot of high frequencies.
A lot of high frequency. It's quite harsh on the ear. Yeah. But very interesting album.
Farfisa and harmonica.
Farfisa and harmonica is quite a harsh listen, folks.
And another one I couldn't find the vinyl of, so I bought the CD, which is Spirit. Now, I played the track Ice off this Spirit album called Clear Spirit. And every time this ever pops up, for instance on the iPod or in the car or something like that, I can never remember who it is, because it just does not sound like Spirit at all.
No, not how Spirit.
Interesting band.
It does sound like it should be a part of a film soundtrack.
Yeah,
which I think
absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spirit's
great.
Underrated, I think, actually.
Very underrated.
And even after Randy California left, they still sounded good to me.
Yeah. So, definitely a VC fave is David Allen and the album Banana Moon, featuring a cast of many famous people here: Pip Pyle, Robert Wyatt, Maggie Bell, Archie Leggett, Gary Wright. We listened to the track which has Robert Wyatt singing. Can't remember what it is. I think it's the second track on side one. It's called Memories. Beautiful tune, very wistful.
Yeah.
Written by Hugh Hopper of Soft Machine. Very nice. Very eclectic album, but a reminder of what a giant David Allen really was in terms of ploughing his own furrow.
That whole scene around that time was just really interesting, actually. There's so many,
Yeah.
I mean, and Robert was in nearly all the bands, or
Yeah.
on the record somewhere or other. I'm not quite sure what the connection was with the next thing I played.
What is it, John? I think we must have had another break.
I think we must have had another break.
Or maybe we didn't.
Maybe we didn't.
You
Maybe
just thought, why not?
Get the records out of order. What you got there? What's it?
I definitely followed that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, played a track called Rushdie off an album by guitarist Wayne Krantz with Tim Lefebvre and Keith Carlock. It's a bit of a kind of power trio, these three. Three of the best kind of, at that time when they made this record, New York-based players. Tim Lefebvre is now based on the West Coast, I think now. So guitar, bass and drums, fantastic playing. And Tim Lefebvre, the bass player, is the bass player on the new David Bowie album, which comes out next week. Monday.
And I think it's going to be very good.
Should be really good. Anyway, this is recommended. Keep Wayne Krantz regular. He's just started his regular sessions at Bar 55 in New York. So if you're in that part of the world, you should go and check him out. Actually, he plays with a different rhythm section almost every week. People like Anthony Jackson, Will Lee, all kinds of people playing with him.
Amazing. Well, we kept up the power trio flavour with yet another CD, and this time it was Octave of the Holy Innocents, which is Jonas Hellborg on the bass, Buckethead on guitar, and Mike Shreve on drums. And both Jonas Hellborg and Buckethead are playing acoustically, so it's an acoustic power trio. It's quite something, actually.
Good stuff.
Yeah, very good. I don't know how I came across this, but I'd never heard of these guys, or this lineup before. But it's a very cheap find, and if you like kind of adventurous prog type musical playing, it's a good find.
And Buckethead's an incredible player.
Buckethead's amazing. I've never heard him play acoustic guitar.
Yeah. Not sure what the connection was with the next one. I think it's something to do with drumming, actually, as well. Played the track Madagi off Harvey Mason's Marching in the Street. Harvey Mason, of course, was the drummer in Headhunters, also the drummer on nearly all of the Isley Brothers productions. Great stuff, actually. This track featured Chuck Rainey, David Grusin.
Beautiful track.
Yeah, really good track. Good album, actually, this one as well.
Followed that up with Nathan Davis. This is an album that I think is quite a rare album. It has been re-released through Universal Sound, which is basically soul jazz records. The album's called If. The lineup includes the incredible Abraham Laboriel on bass. This was kind of an introduction album introducing Abraham Laboriel, and he really is an incredibly underrated and really distinctive original voice in the bass canon. If you don't know him, I always remember when I first started having bass lessons, the teacher sort of gave me a list of bass players I need to listen to, and I'd never heard of any of them, but Abe Laboriel was one of them, and I can see why. We listened to the track called African Boogie, which had some phenomenal playing from Abe.
And I've just been in Haiti, something called the Ghetto Biennale, where I was very pleased to meet up with Stuart Baker from Universal Sounds and Soul Jazz, who was out there doing some recording as well. Then went for another CD and played the track called The Awakening of Mike Longo's The Awakening. Mark was saying this has been shown quite a lot on the VC, this record as well. Also, The Awakening is the theme tune of Jake Feinberg's radio show, which you can find on online as well, where he interviews amazing musicians from this kind of period. This track features Ron Carter, James Moody, Mickey Roker on drums, and also Dizzy Gillespie playing congas as well.
Yes, not particularly well, I have to say.
Not particularly well, no, actually. But I think, given that Mike Longo played with him, I think it's no, the conga playing is not exceptional.
No, it's not the highlight of the track, but it's great. It sounded really nice. Yeah. We then went into a kind of bit more of an abstract, ambient, electronic phase, and this is an album that I've just recently picked up. again via recommendation from someone in the VC who I can't remember who they are, but hopefully they've tuned into this channel and they'll remind me. But thank you very much, whoever it was. I wasn't aware of Dettinger. The album Into Shop came out in 1999, I think, and was the first release on the Compact label, which is a German record label that has gone on to be a major voice on the sort of techno scene. And yeah, the whole album is fantastic, really subtle, but an album that you really want to listen to, sort of multi-layered, really nicely dynamic. And we listen. None of the tracks have titles, which is interesting, but we listened to track 2 on side B. Fantastic stuff.
Went even more minimal next and played the track of
That was very minimal,
Stephen O'Malley's new limited release. Stephen O'Malley, of course, of Sun fame and various other stuff, and I don't think I can dare read out the title.
I think you should read it out, Charlie.
Okay, it's called Fuck Fundamentalist Pigs,
Yeah.
which I think we'd all probably agree
I think
with.
we do
actually.
agree with that.
I mean, you know what you're going to get with Stephen O'Malley. This is a kind of drone piece, solo guitar, lots of overtones emerging. It's on double vinyl, only on vinyl, not on any digital release, and it's a limited edition of 700. So.
And we noticed that Steve also has exactly the same guitar rig as Tony McPhee from the Groundhogs.
Yeah, which might be some connection there.
We think there may be a connection. It's 6 double stacks of high watt amps for those guitar heads amongst you.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's good stuff. I mean, kind of, definitely something you need to, I mean, in a weird kind of way, it's weird putting out in double vinyl, but it's almost something you want to hear without a break, but it's kind of definitely builds over the 4 sides. Yeah, good stuff.
Then we had another new album. This is an album that's come out this year. The band is called Floating Points, and the album is called Elania, I think it is, Elaenia. It's mainly one guy whose name is Sam Shepard. And yeah, he's not the Sam Shepard. A kind of mixture of tracks which are just him, and then sort of several guest musicians, including Tom Skinner on the drums. But this is a great album. Again, an album that, well, he's very upfront that he was quite influenced by the sort of latter-day Talk Mark Hollis albums, the albums where lots of dynamics and you really need to listen. It often feels as though there's very little happening. You really have to listen hard, but very beautiful, but definitely needs a few listens to get into it. And we listened to the title track of the album.
On Listening Hard, then went to the king of Listening Hard, which is Miles Davis. And I love this record, actually. I mean, it was kind of, in a way, it was one of the leftover records that was released in the late 70s when he was in his retirement period, semi-retirement period.
Oh, it got released later.
It got released much later, yeah. And even though it's got a kind of corky, kale cover, it's very unlike On the Corner, which is obviously meant to look like. Really great record. First side's got 3 quintet tracks with the classic quintet with Herbie Hancock, Tony Williams, Ron Carter, Wayne Shorter. Really good, all really good Wayne Shorter compositions. And the second side's got him with Dave Holland, and also with 2 electronic keyboards. So we've got Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock on it. And I played the track Two-Faced, which is kind of really interesting transitional period between the acoustic quintet and what was to come, which was In a Silent Way. In a few weeks afterwards, recorded a few weeks after.
Amazingly sort of empathetic drumming from Tony Williams.
Yeah, almost kind of hardly playing rhythm, just kind of almost like kind of commenting on the solos all the way through.
Amazing listening going on between those musicians, and a kind of cyclical motif that appears.
Really, so often overlooked this record, but it's a good one. The only problem with it's got over 30 minutes of music on both sides of the record, and you kind of wish they'd put it out as a double album and give each track a side, really get better fidelity. But anyway, overlooked.
Sounded good.
Don't miss it.
Another find for me this year, or discovery, I guess, has been discovering Brian Auger. who's a celebrated UK keyboard player.
Spent most of his time in the States.
Spent a lot of time, yeah. He had various bands, including the Trinity and the Oblivion Express, and actually was often ahead of the curve with various sort of musical movements. This is his 1969 album that he did with Julie Driscoll, and it's called Street Noise. And I actually got this from Japan, as you can see, with the obi strip, really beautiful pressing. Yeah, fantastic double album. We listened to their version of Light My Fire. A really classic album from 1969.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm not sure how we got to Bobby Womack, but we did. Then played.
We always do.
We always get to Bobby Womack somewhere or other. This is actually one of my favourite Bobby Womack albums. It's called I Don't Know What the World's Coming To. And it's kind of weird, slightly kind of druggy feel to it. Very, very odd. Lots of fuzz guitars and very strange bunch of musicians, half of which seem to be ex-Funkadelic people, and the other half seem to be country rock musicians.
Yes.
So yeah, play the track What's Your World. I really like this one. I think it's a massively underrated Bobby record. Mind you, I like all these records really. Seems showing his teeth in the back.
Yeah. This definitely was a VC first, and John and I definitely take this guy as one of our style icons, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just fits so neatly there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's Glen Campbell, and of course the track Wichita Lineman, which I picked up for £1 in a local shop around the corner. What a tune!
Great song.
What a production!
What teeth he's got.
It's amazing teeth, beautiful. Yeah.
Then again we had a bit of a went from Glen Campbell seamlessly onto the Tindersticks, the UK band the Tindersticks, and played the track Sweet Release off, and this was I think their 5th or 6th album called Can Our Love. Always really liked the Tindersticks, very simple, all about songs really, no kind of, not really an instrumental kind of show off band at all actually.
Very simple bass group.
Very simple bass group.
Very kind of
effective. Yeah. And they've been just making great records for a very long time, and they're still at it now, actually. So yeah, recommend it. If you don't know the Tindersticks, check them out. I'm sure everybody in BC knows Tindersticks.
Well, I didn't know the Tindersticks.
Okay,
There you go. Nina Simone, an album apparently which she hated. She hated it, but I like it. Well, I particularly like the track Baltimore, the Randy Newman classic. There's also a fantastic reggae version by the Tamlins, which I also have.
That's the one.
That is the one, but it's a beautiful tune, and you can never say no to Nina.
Definitely not.
On CTI.
Because Baltimore originally by Randy Newman. You said that.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't say it again then.
just drumming at home, John.
I know, that's right. Then from Nina we went to Astor Piazzolla, obviously.
Yeah.
Clearly there's a connection between the two. And played a track off Tango 0 Hour, which is called Milonga del Angel, or del Angel, I guess. I don't know if you don't know Astor Piazzolla, he's a bandoneon player from Argentina who plays a kind of updated version of tango, hence the new tango thing. Lots of jazz influences in it, lots of kind of influences of contemporary classical music. I mean, I kind of love his stuff actually. Kind of amazing dynamics, amazing, again, a lot of listening going on.
Incredible recording.
Really great recording, produced by one of my favourites, as you know, Kip Hanrahan. He produced 2 albums for Astor Piazzolla, and this was, I think generally seen as probably being his best album, Tango 0 Hour, which came out on American Clave, which is Kip's label. Also Sting put it out on Pangea as well, I think.
We ended the session with the Footsteps in the Dark track off the Go For Your Guns album by the Isley Brothers, which was the track that Thundercat had sampled earlier on in the session. Beautiful, and we love the Isley Brothers, love their up-tempo stuff and love their ballads. This is one of their ballads. Fantastic singing from Ron and the boys and his brothers. Now I must just say thank you so much to Trish Mullins for sending me 2 fantastic mix CDs which are currently in my car, and have introduced me to a number of artists who I haven't really come across before. Thank you so much, Trish. It's fantastic to receive VCLT. Thank you so much. What can we say?
Happy New Year to everybody.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Definitely.
Okay.
Peace, everybody.
Yeah.